Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to our webinar today. We really appreciate you wanting to spend some time with us, and we got a great presentation ready to roll for you. I first want to say, if you have any questions, we will address them at the end of this webinar. At the bottom of your screen, there is an option for question and answer. If you wouldn't mind dropping those questions there, we will get to them at the end of this webinar. If we don't get to all of them, we will personally email you. We'll get you that response to you no matter what. Um, with our presentation today, driver safety and compliance with GPS Insight, I'd like to introduce our speakers. So starting us off will be Al Dababne, who is our technical account manager. Following Al will be Alyssa Hogan, who is our mid-market sales representative. And then after Alyssa will be Kirk Rhodes, who is our sales engineer. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to you, Al. Go ahead.
Thank you, Miles. Welcome, and thank you for joining today's session on leveraging visibility and tracking for maximum efficiency. As fleet managers, you're tasked with optimizing both vehicle performance and operational costs. And with real-time tracking and smart reporting tools, you can significantly improve your fleet's ROI while keeping your operation smooth and cost-effective. Today, we're going to focus on performance reporting, a little bit of the maps, device diagnostics, and how to understand key data points that'll guide you to your fleet optimization. So let's take a look at the maps. So for visibility right away, when you just want to take a good glimpse of your fleet, that's what your page is going to open up to. It's going to open up to the main map where you're going to see all your vehicles, all your assets. You can have different customizations with the maps when it comes to clustering or grouping vehicles together, filtering out different departments or groups and focusing on different areas where you need your focus for your fleet. We include our maintenance alerts or even maintenance icons on the maps. You can see in one of the examples there, just showing you that one of those vehicles is due for maintenance. And again, so this is that quick visibility into your fleet right at a glance. Um, so the history as well, you can use your trip history functions on the map just to monitor your fleet's vehicle and asset activity to help determine job verification, efficient routing, vehicle incidents, and more. So for leveraging reports for greater insight, one of the main focuses or one of the main reports that I take a look at on a weekly basis would be the performance report. Uh, this is the one report that's going to give you the most information right away that all your vehicles are working and the devices are reporting correctly. Main focuses when I take a look at a fleet or device report, I want to make sure that these devices and vehicles are reporting correctly. So voltage, reported column, and stopped column are my top three columns that I look at right away. So when you look at your reported and stopped columns, you're going to review the last reported column to identify devices that haven't reported in over 24 hours. All of our devices report at least once every 24 hours. So if you see something in that reported column that says reported 3 days ago, there's something going on with that vehicle or that device that would need to be looked into. The stopped is going to be your ignition values. So if you see a vehicle showing stopped for 54 minutes, that's when it saw its last ignition off. And then voltage check. Again, if a device isn't reporting voltage data, you're going to want to investigate why, whether it's a vehicle with a battery kill inside the cab that could cause that, or just the device has been disconnected, or your vehicle's battery is dead. So we'll move on to a couple more reports. So fleet utilization, drive time summary, and the idle time summary, again, are three more reports that I look at to help me identify fleet abnormalities. So the fleet utilization, obviously here you can compare your vehicle utilization across your entire fleet. So you can look at what vehicles are for what amount of time are reporting. So if you know your vehicles are supposed to report or or be worked in 5 days a week, then you should be able to see that those vehicles are being utilized for 5 days. If you see a vehicle that's not being utilized weekly, maybe it's time to move that vehicle on. Drive time summary, same thing. You're going to review the days driven and stops to help identify potential inefficiencies. It can help identify also anomalies such as vehicles that are driving but not making stops. So if you know your vehicles are supposed to make stops and they're just not doing that, this is some great insight into how your vehicles report throughout the day. And then if you guys focus on idle time, if your fleet has that idle time focus, you can go ahead and run the idle time summary report and just compare any excessive idles to the rest of your fleet. So if you allow your vehicles to idle for 15 to 20% of the time, then those vehicles would be okay. I take a look personally at my fleet, and I'll look at anything that's idled more than 80% of its daily time frame, and I'll find out what they were doing. I'll look into it before I go and I coach a driver. So with the reports that we just went through, we also have the ability to schedule these reports so we can be a little bit more proactive. We also have our alerts and our maintenance tracking. So for the scheduled reports, so setting up reoccurring reports, this is going to help you stay ahead of any potential issues. These reports are going to give you a holistic view of vehicle performance, enabling quick, informed decisions that you're going to want to do with regards to your fleet. So I always recommend performance report and fleet utilization are probably the first two and my top two reports that I would want to have scheduled. And for me, that would be a weekly report to start off. And then depending on how the fleet is doing, you could extend that to say, only send me the report monthly. Now on to the alerts. This kind of coincides with all of your scheduled reports and getting that insight into your fleet. So you have your parked and out of range alerts. So this is just keeping track of vehicles that are out of range or have been parked for extended long periods of time. Again, we can go back to that. My drivers drive 5 days a week. If you find out that a vehicle has been parked for 6 or 7 days, then something's going on if that vehicle is supposed to be used. The out of range is a little bit different. That's a report where it's going to give you one of two things, or an alert that's going to give you one of two things. The first one being the device has been disconnected or lost power while the vehicle last reported an ignition event. And then the second part of that is the device itself has gone out of cellular range while the last reported event was an ignition event. So those are some things to keep a look for. If you find a vehicle that goes out of range and you set that alert to say, alert me after an hour, you would want to check in maybe on the driver or the device itself, depending on the situation. Switch alerts right here. This is another great alert for having some insight into your fleet. External power loss is the biggest one. You're basically going to stay on top of any power losses. And this is the device reporting a power loss. So this is going to be in vehicles that, this could possibly be a vehicle with critical battery issues, vehicle not being utilized. So there's going to be a little bit of drain on your battery while it just sits there and does nothing for weeks or months at a time. And then, of course, your maintenance and service alerts. This is just going to help you ensure that your fleet stays on top of conditions, just by notifying you of upcoming maintenance records or maintenance needs. So we also offer field service management perspective on things. This solution helps you with scheduling, text reviewing orders, invoicing, and as you can see with the current slide here, the integration is built into the same portal, so there's no learning new products. So this is, again, you're not logging into a different screen. You're not moving to another app. This is all available to you right there in that same GPS Insight portal. So you're going to have your integrated fleet maps, very similar look and everything else to your GPS Insight map page. And then you're going to have your integrated business dashboard, which is going to give you an executive look at how your fleet and your technicians are doing out in the field. So how does Service Bridge offer visibility? This is going to give your field technicians real-time access to their job details, status updates, custom checklists, and customer information without searching through a mountain of paperwork. This is all going to be available to them in their, if they're carrying around a tablet or even on their cell phone, they can go ahead and log in and view this. They're going to be able to collect completion documentation and signatures digitally, so you don't need to track people down. They're going to also be able to upload photos and documentation, their work orders, schematics, and more at just the click of a button. And it also gives your customers that same access. And then lastly, of course, you're going to be able to process payments in the field with digital payments and online invoicing. Before I go, the bottom line, just by actively monitoring your fleet's performance through detailed reporting, alerts, you can significantly reduce your downtime. You can prevent unnecessary maintenance costs and optimize your fleet utilization. This level of visibility not only gives you better control over your operations, but it also enhances your ability to make data-driven decisions that improve your bottom line. Thank you, Miles.
Hey, Al, thank you so much for sharing all that. Now we'll pass it over to Alyssa. Alyssa, when you're ready, take it away.
Thanks, Miles. GPS Insight's Driver Eye camera is part of our platform. We offer different platforms for whatever different customer needs, and today's focus is going to be on our smart cameras. The Driver Eye camera that we have has many benefits to it, not just showing you what is happening with your drivers, but some of the great benefits that our customers are experiencing are reduced insurance premiums, helping with accidents, really replaying what happened, which also results in reduced cost settlements, that even if it is your fault, there is a reduction in settlement costs that we've seen. That also is playing into the reduced wear and tear on vehicles with better driver behavior, and then also the increased community value, knowing that your drivers are safe on the road and anyone who sees them on the road knows that a safe driver is behind the wheel. So a lot of questions to consider when you think of Driver Eye before you have a camera solution. We like to help you understand maybe how safe is your fleet today? How are you coaching your drivers? And then how is that building you a positive safety culture? We can achieve all these three questions on a daily basis by using the Driver Eye camera solution. So really first, how safe is your fleet? We always want to think they're as safe as possible, but there's always room to improve. The Driver Eye camera helps you do that with computer vision that allows you the camera to every minute of driving. The camera is analyzing all those driving behaviors. That also plays into our artificial intelligence that recognizes those behaviors the computer vision is sending it with unsafe or safe driving without any human intervention involved or review. It's happening at the camera level. And that allows the edge computing to process all that information and in real time allow for in-cab coaching if that is what you choose to have for your drivers. And another great feature about this camera is it is machine learning. It allows the camera over the air to get any of the updates and any additional utilization that is sent to it without having to take the camera out of the vehicle or having to worry about uploading in only certain areas. So a smart camera versus the Driver Eye camera solution that we offer is, differences, and we'll do it out of the basic 1,000 minutes of driving we see in front of us. That most smart cameras can give you the rapid acceleration, high G-force, and other details that also your GPS tracker can also give you. But the Driver Eye camera solution in those same 1,000 minutes will also offer you green minutes. We're going to also show you the good, the risk-free driving that we know your drivers are doing on a daily basis. And that allows for Driver Stars to show you safe driving events that your drivers are doing behind the wheel with also positivity behind it. And we'll get into that later, how that affects their score. But each of these events are going to be already organized for you with moderate or severe risk events attached to them. So you can also say in that same 1,000 minutes of driving, we have Tom. Tom drove for 1,000 minutes and 47% of that time, we can tell you that he was safe, risk-free, green minute driving. And then also in that time, we can add other layers such as, was the camera obstructed? Certain G-force events. If you choose to have the inward camera on, you could get things like distracted driving from their phone or looking down, if they're wearing their seatbelts or if they're drowsy. But we also can tell you sign compliance and traffic lights. So it's not just the basics that you have with a regular smart camera. You can also get detailed information and have it organized for you. Another great feature is our driver initiated events. You have the ability to give the drivers a button in the cab at any time to initiate, which will grab 30 seconds before they hit that button and also the 30 seconds after. This allows you to see what was important for the driver, if they were part of an accident, if they saw an accident, or if there's something on a job site they want to show you, you can utilize the camera that way. So now that we have all this data coming in and organized, now we want to know how can we coach our drivers, again, ultimately to get safe and get home every day. So how we can do that is by 3 parts. We can do coaching sessions based on their scores. We can do virtual coaching that the drivers can download an app and see and have a transparency of what you're seeing for videos and alerts to also understand how their driving is. And then there's in-cab coaching. In-cab coaching is happening in the now. So it's something that is proactive and can stop the behavior if it is an unsafe behavior now, then looking back on it historically. The system will also take all of these alerts and information and it's going to organize it for you. You can customize and configure your coaching sessions on what's most important based on your drivers, and then the system will organize it for you in who you should look at and what's most important to help each driver to get better with their safety. This empowers drivers. It's going to help them with their scoring, where they rank, and driver stars. Again, it's going to recognize that good driving. So not only will you see drivers in lower scores if they have poor driving, but you will see them in comparison to your other drivers who are doing a great job and deserve the appreciation. Virtual coaching, again, is that app that is going to allow you to give your drivers that transparency on where they rank, what their score is, and to know privately how they're doing driving behind the wheel. This will also send them notifications when we see any of those alerts come in, and then it'll help them and coach them like a virtual assistant to help them understand what they're doing and how they can get better and be positive in enforcement in helping them potentially reach a higher score. This also shows these video events to them. So again, that transparency and driver adoption is very easily done, and it's usually instant. These virtual coaching results we have seen with driver scores that also help with accidents and improve always more safety results. But with the app, we've seen an increase of the scores going higher than compared without the app with some of our customers. Your green zone statistics will easily, for management, show you where all of these events lie based on certain groups, all drivers, and then the duration and time frame you want to oversee. These green zone statistics can help you understand what is most important to look at. And in this case, we see sign violations and camera obstruction are our 2 highest points that we want to take a look at. But it also tells us what is going right, that we see traffic lights are low, following distance are low, speed violations. It helps us organize and see from all of our drivers what needs to be our focus and what we need to keep an eye on. So how do we build this safety culture with using this tool? What we can do is look at benefits of positive employee recognition with the data that we're getting back from driver eye. So we can see things like increased productivity, engagement. We also know there's a decrease in employee turnover because we know we can stand behind our drivers with this data. There's a great employee satisfaction and enjoyment of work because we know it'll be caught on camera that it was not their fault if there's an incident, and we know that they can be rewarded by great scores. This improves the team culture, helps retention of quality employees, and also a higher loyalty and satisfaction scores from your customers because we have safer drivers coming to each of your job sites. And this is where we can help you build a great safety program for your drivers by using these tools, from focusing on positive driving, setting driver score goals and knowing where drivers are at above their goal or below, empowering your drivers, knowing where they rank, as well as making sure we can get them always improving their scores and always looking for more driver stars, and then giving you the tools to monitor these trends to make sure all drivers are heading in the right direction. We're always here to help you with your driver safety programs and have a lot of other resources. Miles, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa. That was great. We really appreciate your insights and knowledge base right there. Now we're going to turn it over to Kirk. Kirk, go ahead and bring us home.
Thanks, Miles. All right. So we introduced a while back the Driver Eye Hub X, right? And this is, desirable for people with visibility problems around their vehicle, right? I hear a lot of stories where, truck drivers, are accused of changing lanes and running into a car in the other lane, things like that. Driver Eye Hub X is designed to help protect you for that, right? So you do have the option to put in this Hub X. You can put up to 4 additional cameras on there. Typically my side mirrors, right? I'm going to have those facing backwards. I might even have a camera off the rear of my trailer or the back of my box truck where I can't see, right? And in the event of an incident, your driver can press the button, record all those video, feeds, things like that. Or if I have to request live video, I can do that as well. And we have like a sample accident video there, right? We could see, the lower left there's a car changing lanes into the back of this truck's trailer. It was an unfortunate situation, but it was great that they had this camera, right? It proves that your truck driver wasn't at fault. And that is it. Thank you.
All right. What we're going to do now is open it up for our question and answer segment, and we'll get things going with that. So bear with us. We're going to transition over to our question and answer segment and get to responding to your questions. Okay? And we want to thank and introduce Andrea. She is going to be helping us out with the service bridge portion of the question and answer segment. All right. So the first question that we have, is, are my drivers able to send me footage that they captured on the road? I don't want to have to sit around and wait for an alert. Kirk, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Thanks, Miles. So your drivers do not have direct access to the video on the camera, but they do have that driver initiated button. That is definitely the best way to mark an event or as quickly as you can. And then you can set up for a personal notification to come to your Driver Eye app on your phone, and then use that to go request additional footage where needed.
Awesome. Thank you. Our next question is, can I make a list of scheduled reports I want to receive, or is there a list available in the portal? Al, I think that's a you question.
Yeah, definitely, Miles. Thank you. Good question. There's actually a few different spaces you can actually turn on or choose an alert report to be scheduled. Right as you run an ad hoc report, you can run that ad hoc report, and then in the results there'll be schedule this report up at the top right-hand side. So it'll actually schedule it with all your filters that you've selected. Before you run that ad hoc report, there'll be just a little toggle switch that says schedule this, and you can select your filters at that point. And then if you are one of our enterprise tiered customers, you can move into what we call our classic area, where you can get a full list of all the available reports that are schedulable.
Awesome. All right, we're going to jump into the next question. Does Service Bridge work with softwares like QuickBooks? Andrea, I'll hand that one over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Miles. I'm happy to say yes. Service Bridge works with software like QuickBooks. We have a native integration to QuickBooks Online. That seamless integration allows you to enjoy all the benefits if you're already using QuickBooks Online or thinking about going that direction. Things like being able to work from virtually anywhere on any device, because both Service Bridge and QuickBooks are cloud-based and have those benefits.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Miles.
Thank you. What is the best way for me to reduce idle time for my fleet? Al?
How to reduce idle time for your fleet? It's a tough one. It really depends on what your idle time requirements are and whatnot. There are a couple things you can do where you could have the devices inside the cab emit an audible alert. So the driver, if they're idling for more than 5 minutes, they'll get a beeping sound coming from the device itself. You could also set up in conjunction with that alerts that would be triggered to the driver's manager or supervisor that says, at 5 minutes, alert me, or at 10 minutes, alert my supervisor. And you can run up the hierarchy based on whatever time frame you want. Initially, though, hearing that beeping in the cab while you're idling pretty much is going to let that driver know that next time if you idle for much longer, it's going to go to your supervisor. So that's probably the easiest way to start is just by that the beeping, turning on the audible alert inside the cab.
Awesome. Thank you, Al. Next question. How big are the Hub X monitors? Kirk?
Thanks, Miles. So there's two choices on the HubX monitors. There's a 7-inch display, which would be more appropriate for your smaller, maybe light duty vehicles. And then there's a 9-inch display. If you've got the ability to put that in there, your screens will be a little bit bigger for the driver to see those cameras while driving.
Awesome. Where do the HubX monitors mount in the vehicle?
So typically you're going to want that to be in a position on the dash that is not going to interfere with the driver's visibility, but also be close enough to the driver where they can actually see that without, sort of getting up into a distracted driving situation. So the closer, the better.
Perfect. I think that might be it. Let me see. Yeah, that's all of our questions. I'll stop sharing my screen. But that concludes our webinar. I'm very grateful again for our panelists for the contributions they offered and for your participation. If you have any more questions, you're more than welcome to visit our website, gpsinsight.com. We have plenty of options for you to learn more about our solutions. You can also visit servicebridge.com and see some solutions there if you're looking to include some field service management software into your fleet. But again, thank you everybody for participating. Thank you everybody for attending, and we'll see you at the next webinar.